Welcome to Dose Brain Video today, where we deep dive into the world of one-sided relationships. In the vast expanse of human emotions and connections, we find a myriad of relationship dynamics. Some are balanced, harmonious, and mutual, while others tip the scale towards an imbalance, leaving one person carrying the weight. This is the realm of one-sided relationships. One-sided relationships are like a dance where only one person is moving to the rhythm while the other stands still, watching from the sidelines. It's a relationship where one individual pours their heart and soul, their time and energy, into keeping the bond alive, while the other remains passive, unresponsive, or even oblivious. The question we're asking today is, why does this happen? What factors lead to such an imbalance? Is it a matter of personality, circumstance, or something more profound? Understanding this is not just about curiosity. It's about empowering individuals to recognize and address these situations. Because, let's face it, one-sided relationships can be exhausting, emotionally draining, and can leave one feeling unappreciated, undervalued, and even invisible. So, we're here to delve into the complexities, to pull apart the threads and understand the whys and hows. We'll be exploring the reasons behind one-sided relationships, from unrequited love to lack of communication, fear of confrontation, and low self-esteem. Each of these factors has its own intricate web of causes and effects, and understanding them can be the first step towards change. Because, at the end of the day, every person deserves a relationship where they feel seen, heard, and valued. So buckle up and prepare yourself for an enlightening journey into the heart of one-sided relationships. It's time to pull back the curtain and shine a light on the unseen. Stay tuned as we unravel the reasons behind one-sided relationships. Our first reason for one-sided relationships often stems from unrequited love. This is an age-old, heart-wrenching tale that most of us have experienced at some point. The kind of love that burns bright, but only on one side. Unrequited love is often the first stepping stone into the murky waters of one-sided relationships. Imagine this scenario. You're completely smitten by someone, you're emotionally invested, pouring your heart and soul into the relationship, hoping to see the same level of engagement reciprocated. But alas, the other person merely enjoys your company, sees you as a good friend, but nothing more. This is unrequited love in its raw form, and it often leads to a one-sided relationship. In these situations, the balance is skewed. One person is always giving, trying to win over the affection of the other, while the other person is always receiving, enjoying the attention and care, but not reciprocating the same level of emotional investment. It's like a seesaw with one side perpetually stuck in the air while the other firmly grounded. This imbalance often leads to heartache and disappointment for the person who is more emotionally invested. Now let's consider another example. Perhaps you've been friends for years, and over time you've developed deeper feelings, but the other person is oblivious to this change in your emotions. You're in love, while they're blissfully unaware, continuing to see you as a friend. This is another form of unrequited love, subtly morphing into a one-sided relationship. These examples illustrate how unrequited love can lead to one-sided relationships. It's a situation where one person is emotionally all in, while the other is just not that into it. And while it's a painful reality to face, it's important to remember that it's just one piece of the puzzle. This understanding can be the first step towards breaking free from the chains of one-sided love. Unrequited love can be painful, but it's just one piece of the puzzle. After all, love is a two-way street. And for a relationship to truly flourish, it requires mutual feelings and equal investment from both parties. Another common reason for one-sided relationships is a lack of effective communication. And when we say communication, we're not just talking about the number of text messages exchanged or phone calls made. It's about expressing feelings, thoughts, and needs in a clear, respectful, and open manner. Communication is the lifeblood of any relationship. It fosters understanding, builds trust, and strengthens emotional connections. But when communication is lacking or ineffective, it can lead to a host of misunderstandings and misconceptions, leaving one party feeling neglected or unheard. Imagine being in a relationship where your partner rarely shares their thoughts or feelings. You're left guessing what's going on in their mind, trying to interpret their actions, and often jumping to conclusions. This could lead you to feel like you're shouldering the emotional burden of the relationship, making it a one-sided affair. Or consider a situation where you always have to initiate conversations or plans. The silence from the other end could make you feel like you're the only one invested in keeping the relationship alive. This lack of reciprocation can lead to feelings of rejection and loneliness, again contributing to the sense of a one-sided relationship. Moreover, the absence of clear communication can also lead to unmet expectations. If you and your partner aren't discussing your needs and wants, it's easy to end up disappointed when they aren't met. This can cause resentment to build up, creating a rift between you and your partner and making the relationship feel one-sided. So it's clear that a lack of communication can be a significant contributor to one-sided relationships. It can breed misunderstandings, foster feelings of neglect, and lead to unmet expectations. But remember, communication is a two-way street. It requires both parties to actively participate and make an effort. Communication is key, but what happens when fear comes into play? Fear of confrontation is another leading cause of one-sided relationships. It's like an invisible wall, silently separating two hearts, allowing one person to bear most of the relationship's burdens. Let's dive a little deeper into this. Imagine you're in a relationship where your needs aren't being met. You're unhappy, but you're too afraid to voice your feelings. Why? Because you fear confrontation. You fear the potential conflict, the potential fallout, the potential end of the relationship. So instead of speaking up, you shoulder the weight of the relationship, hoping things will naturally get better. This fear of confrontation can have profound effects on a relationship. It can prevent important discussions about feelings, expectations, and boundaries. Without these discussions, it's easy for a relationship to become one-sided. One person becomes the giver, always sacrificing, always accommodating, while the other becomes the receiver, always taking, never giving back. Consider for a moment the scenario of a partner who is constantly late for dates. The other partner is annoyed, but fears confronting the issue. They worry about appearing nagging or controlling, so they stay silent, their frustration growing with each tardy arrival. Over time, this leads to resentment, further imbalancing the relationship. Or think about a partner who is always on the receiving end of favors, but rarely reciprocates. The giving partner may feel used, yet their fear of confrontation prevents them from expressing their feelings. They continue to give, hoping the other will notice and reciprocate. But without communication, the imbalance persists. Fear of confrontation can be crippling. It can lead to a relationship where one person's needs are consistently overlooked while the others are constantly catered to. But confronting this fear and learning to communicate openly and honestly can help rebalance the scales, creating a more fulfilling, equitable relationship. Fear of confrontation can be crippling, but there's another factor that often goes unnoticed. Stay with us as we delve into this in the next scene. Low self-esteem is a subtle but powerful contributor to one-sided relationships. It weaves a web of self-doubt and insecurity, leaving one feeling undeserving of love, respect, and equality in a relationship. Imagine a scenario where you're constantly undervaluing yourself, feeling like you're not good enough. This mentality can lead you to accept less than you deserve in a relationship. You might allow your partner to treat you poorly simply because you don't believe you deserve better. Or perhaps you're always putting their needs before yours, neglecting your own desires and happiness in the process. This, my friends, is where low self-esteem can lead to a one-sided relationship. Let's take another example. You're in a relationship where you're always apologizing even when it's not your fault. You feel obligated to take the blame, thinking that it's your shortcomings causing the issue. This is yet another manifestation of low self-esteem, where you're shouldering all the burdens and the relationship becomes imbalanced. Now consider a situation where you're afraid to voice your opinions or assert your needs out of fear that your partner will leave you. You're compromising your identity, your voice to maintain the relationship. This is a clear sign of low self-esteem feeding a one-sided relationship. In all these instances, the common thread is the lack of self-worth, the feeling of being less than, and the acceptance of less than one deserves. It's a vicious cycle that further lowers self-esteem and deepens the one-sidedness of the relationship. But it's important to remember, everyone deserves to be in a balanced relationship where there is mutual respect, love, and understanding. It's time to break the cycle, to build up self-esteem, and demand the respect you deserve. It's not about being selfish, but about understanding your worth and refusing to settle for less. Low self-esteem can certainly make a relationship one-sided. It's time we learned how to balance the scales. We've explored the reasons behind one-sided relationships, from unrequited love to low self-esteem. Let's take a moment to recap. Unrequited love, often the root of one-sided relationships, can lead to feelings of inadequacy and heartache. Lack of communication, another common issue, can breed misunderstanding and distance. The fear of confrontation can stifle honest discussions, while low self-esteem can result in individuals settling for less than they deserve. These elements, however, don't define a relationship. They are hurdles, and like all hurdles, they can be overcome. The key lies in mutual effort, both parties working together to understand and fulfill each other's needs. Communication is also critical, fostering an environment where thoughts and feelings can be freely expressed. Lastly, self-worth plays a pivotal role. Remember, you deserve a relationship that respects and values you. Remember, every relationship requires balance. It's all about give and take. Thanks for joining us in this deep dive into one-sided relationships. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like these. Comment down below on your thoughts about the topic.